Welcome back. Here we are again in our calendar cleanup series of Lunch with a Life Coach. So I am Deanna and welcome. We are talking in the next half dozen episodes or so about time management, how to clean up your calendar. And I often say, what a home organizer does for your home, that's actually what I do for your calendar with this process. So make sure if you are diving into this episode, make sure you have watched the previous one because the previous episode was about inventorying. Is that a word? Inventorying or creating an inventory of two things. One, all the roles and responsibilities you hold through life. And two, the to-do lists that accompany those roles and responsibilities. Okay. So I won't go into that any further because you need to scroll back and watch that last episode. It's about 15 minutes because you need that information to take this second step with me today. So if you are new, welcome. If I have connected with you before, welcome back. Do make sure a couple of things. You have subscribed to my website, deannalangfordcoaching.com, because there is a really great guide on there, 24 ways to clean up your calendar in 2024, and has great tips that you can pick and choose from to really help you. A lot of it you'll hear in our series here because these are the strategies to really help us clean up our calendar. Okay. So today we are talking about it's section 3 and 4. If you're following along with the workbook, and if you don't have that workbook yet, you can go to my website again, deannalangfordcoaching.com, into the coaching section, and you'll have a look and you'll see when you click on yes, I'm ready, there's a whole bunch of information that comes up there. So you can have a look and grab the workbook if you like. And you don't need the workbook. You can also just listen and kind of participate along as well. Again, the only thing you do need is your list of inventory and from last episode, right? Because we're going to talk about what to do with that. So you've got this brainstormed page of all of these different to-dos, and how do we actually start to bring that into a really clean, organized, chaos-free or chaos minimized situation that we can really use week to week, that will help us really move through our life with calm instead of that chaotic kind of feeling. So today, section 3 and section 4 is about refinement and categorization. So you may know that I'm going to continue to nudge you to refine your to-do list, because the old you can do it all is just simply not true. It's that rhetoric that has been around for so long that actually leads to burnout and really being ineffective in what we're doing. We need to think about what we want, like what's the specific thing. Let's say, in business, you're really trying to grow X in your business and you have a whole alphabet of products or services or whatever the case is. We have to drill down on the one or two things at a time. Not forever, right? We can do all the things. We just can't do them all at once. Not well and not in a healthy way. So what are the, specific things? What are the couple things that we really want to drill down on, right? That's kind of what we're thinking about. So we're going to start off with this refinement step. You take your list. So bring your list with you, the roles and responsibilities, all those to-dos. This is a heavy step. The episode's not very long because, I just need to explain it. And then you got that work to do. And actually in our workshop, when I do our live workshop or when I do the one-on-one coaching, we go through this together because again, like a home organizer, that whole keep, sell, donate idea. It's hard to, look at a thing and go, oh, I got to keep that. I want to keep everything, right? We can't, you can't. If you're trying to declutter your home, you can't keep everything. You're trying to declutter your calendar. You can't keep everything. Okay. One more time. If you're decluttering your calendar, why are you doing that? Because you're feeling overwhelmed, chaotic, reactive. You're not parenting the way that you want. Maybe you're not showing up as the partner that you want. Maybe I don't know. I'm just, tossing stuff out there. Maybe that doesn't apply to you. You have to let some things go. Okay. That's what we're looking at right now. So I want you to, again, envision, because I think most folks have that idea, right? Of when I'm looking at, if you've ever watched anything by Marie Kondo, right? She asks you to hold one. She's a I'm sure has a better title, but really helps people release a lot of their clutter and keep the things that bring them joy. Or we're talking about our calendar to-do list, keep the things that bring the purpose, that actually move the needle forward in what we're working on. And maybe what you're working on is business growth. Maybe what you're working on is improving relationships, right? This applies to any and all things. So you're going to look at, I'm just looking at our account, our workbook here, but you're going to look at your to-do list. This is the work in this step. And I want you to sort of touch each one, like take your pencil and go, okay, this is the to-do list under my role as a parent, or my role as a social media person for my business, or role as, I know if you have your own business, you're all the things, right? We need to talk about that. But this is the to-do list here. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. When you're going through item by item, this is a heavy step. Again, episode's not long, but the action item behind this is long. But I promise you, this is how we get to the other side of the chaos. You have to invest some time here. So you're looking at that item. Ask yourself questions like, does this item still fit with the stage of life that I'm currently in, right? I want you to think of two things. The seasonality that comes with our calendars, our time management, our life. So yes, the actual season, like winter, spring, summer, fall, what is on my to-do in the winter? So where I live in Canada, there's usually snow removal. In the summer, the spring, the fall, there's usually things to do in my garden. And so there's seasonality to that to-do list, right? So according to the actual seasons, if that's right. The other thing we talk about seasons in a different way, like, are you in a season of parenting a newborn, or are you in a season of parenting toddlers? Are you in the season of parenting teenagers, right? All the things look different according to the season of life you're in. And so I want you to look at those to-dos and say, do these still fit? Are they still relevant now? If it's a yes, of course, then they stay. If you're like, oh, actually, I don't need to do that anymore. Maybe my kiddos don't require X anymore. I can remove that, right? And this is why it's a hard step, because sometimes it could be related. If we're talking about parenting, it could be related to something that you're holding on to, that they've actually moved through that developmental stage, but you're holding on to that thing because you think you still have to, right? And I have kids. I have kids that are adults now, but I've been through that. So for to say, well, you don't have little kids. I did. I had 2 under 2. I get it. I know. And it's something to say, like, developmentally, where are they? If I am always making their 8,000 snacks a day when they're whatever year, right? Because all kids are different, right? And we parent different. There's no judgment. I just want you to think about that. If you're overwhelmed and chaotic, things have to come off of your list. So could it be for your, 4-year-old, could, she make her own snack at 9 o'clock? And, you set up your snack drawer in a way that she just has to grab and go. You've already washed the veggies or whatever the case is, right? So just looking at developmentally, am I still needing to do all those things for the kiddos? Okay, so these are just things, just ideas to put out there, because we need to look at things differently. Remember, and I often say this, if the only tool that you have in your toolbox is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And every DIY job that we do, we're going to say, I don't know, this is all I can do. Like, I can hammer that nail in, I can use the claw and the hammer to remove, but that's it. Those are the only strategies I have. And right now we might be looking at things that need different tools. That's why people, dig into coaching and things like that, to start to look at things and create new tools, to be new ways of thinking, to be able to see things differently. Okay. So you've got to touch every item on your to-do list and ask, does it still fit the stage of life that I'm in? Is it there because it's simply the way it's always been, right? Is there a new way that you could go about doing that? Maybe. Is it something, especially in your business, let's say, is it something you're doing, or other areas possibly as well? Is it something you're doing because you don't feel like you have time to train somebody else to do it, right? If we're talking about staffing and that sort of thing. Is it there because you won't let anybody else do it, right? Is it there because you're like, no, I want X done this way? Well, if you're overwhelmed and chaotic, etc., maybe it's time to figure out how that could be done differently, okay? Did somebody else put it on your to-do list? Is it an item that actually really should be done by, or could be done by somebody else? Again, there's no judgment here, just putting lots of ideas out there so that you have different ways, different tools, right? We don't want to just have our hammer. We need other things to be able to say, yes, this is actually a different way I could look at this. This is how I could reorganize this particular thing. Okay. So refinement is the first step. You must take some things off of your to-do list. Okay. Now, when you have refined your those to-do lists, and don't start this next thing I'm going to say, categorizing, don't start this. Oh, I almost had my mom finger out there. Please don't start this until you have refined. Okay. There are more refinement steps coming up, but I do need you to do a good declutter of your calendar now. You're going to categorize. And then this is the last step of this episode and this part of the process. So look at that to-do list now that you've refined it a little bit. Yes, I know it is sectioned according to your roles and responsibilities, right? Parenting, business, etc. Yes. Now, zoom out. I want you to take a 10,000-foot view and say, where are there like activities across all of these different areas? So, for example, maybe under parenting, we say, hey, I have prescriptions to pick up for my kiddos. Maybe under business, you say, hey, I've got some mail to drop off, some packages to drop off at the post office. Maybe under caregiving, you have, caregiving, I'm thinking like as a parent or caregiving for a parent, etc. Maybe there are some groceries that need to be picked up for that area. So notice like activities across your to-do list. So you can start bringing those together. So what happens is we have to categorize and then cross-reference. And if when we categorize, this is what we want because we want to know all the things that come with the different roles we have. But then we really have to get smart with our time. So the three things I mentioned, the prescriptions, the caregiving, etc., the dropping things off at the post office for your business, those are all errands, right? All errands to run. They require you to leave your house, get in the car or on the bus or whatever, and go do the thing and come back. So time management wise, when we put things together like that, that is much more strategic and useful and very streamlined in the use of your time versus doing something for parenting while I run out and do that. And then I come home and go, oh, darn, I have these things to take here. And, it saves us a little bit of gas with all the expenses that we have, right? So this is why we're now categorizing. And so I just want you to look and say, hey, maybe there is budgeting that you do. Maybe you have to do banking for your business. Maybe you do some budgeting or some banking for people that you caregive for. You know what? Those are like activities, right? It actually might really suit when you have your laptop open, you're doing your spreadsheets for your business, finish that, and then just go into the other thing that's really helpful here. And we might not realize different activities activate different parts of our brain. And when we go from one side of the brain to the other side of the brain or one area of the brain to another, we take extra time because we have to shift gears. Whereas if we can blend like things together, so using banking as an example, that part of the brain that's really numbers focused is really different than the part of the brain that's creative. So if we say, hey, I got to create some new social media content, I've got to create some new activities for my kids, don't alternate the activity creation with the banking, right? As a suggestion, because your brain has to go from that, hit the brakes, refocus on something else. Putting like things together can actually find a flow state in the part of the brain that is activated for the particular things you're doing. And then maybe it's this shift over. Okay. Again, just another suggestion on how we can bring things together. So this episode today was really talking about how refining our to-do list is so important. Things have to come off. You've got to do some decluttering here. And then how you're categorizing overall. Okay. So that is your homework from this episode. And again, if you need more information, you can, of course, always email me, Deanna at DeannaLangfordCoaching.com, pop onto my website. Make sure you subscribe so you grab that cleaning up your calendar for 2024 and you subscribe through the website to grab that. And then, this process, again, has been 25 years in the making, how I brought all this together. And through this series on the podcast, I'm giving this information away for free. So what I'm asking for you to do is this: if this is useful, save the episode, share the episode with somebody else that is really struggling with their time management, and maybe these tips and tricks can be really useful for them too. I would greatly appreciate it, because we really want people living a calm, healthy, chaos-free life. And that's really what we're after, right? So the more, the merrier in our process. We'll see you back soon.